Did you know that animals are used to test hundreds of products in the cosmetic and pharmaceutical industries? Popular products that have been animal tested include Bounty, Listerine, Windex, Maybelline, Revlon, Nair, and Pledge. Animals are injured so that these products can be sold. You may use these products daily, and a helpless animal suffered so that you could use it. Not all animals are protected. There is one law that protects animals called the U.S. Animal Welfare Act, but that doesn't protect mice, rats, fish, or birds, so they don't have any standards to be cared for or treated with, and they also aren't considered animals by the law. So we should try to stop, or at least greatly reduce, the amount of animal testing. 834,453 animals were used in animal testing in 2014, and those included guinea pigs, hamsters, dogs, cats, and pigs. The number of mice, rats, fish, and birds were not counted, but if they were to be counted, it would be estimated from anywhere to 12 million to 25 million animals total per year. Some people may not believe that animals have feelings or emotions, but studies have shown that they do. Animals have feelings and can feel what happens to them. According to a study done by Greg Burns, a professor at Emory University, animals can feel positive emotions like love and attachment and have the same type of feeling regulators in our brain that humans do. So all mammals have the same parts of the brain that regulate feelings. And according to Mark Bekoff of Psychology Today, rats can feel joy, elephants, donkeys, and otters can grieve, mice, rats, and chicken can feel empathy, and mice are fun-loving, and also fish have feelings. So animal testing involves pain, suffering, and inhumane treatment. Animals are experimented on and then killed or left to live their lives injured and in captivity. The Animal Welfare Act allows animals to be burned, tortured, starved, and brain damaged, so that they're, like, especially with mice and rats, there's no standard that they need to be treated against. So animals also can't agree to the testing, which is one major problem people have with it, because when we do human tests, like clinical trials or other experimental drugs, humans can give their consent. And so some people who oppose animal testing have a major issue with the animal testing in the cosmetic industry because there are no health benefits to it. It's just to make you look better. And no matter your views on morality and animal testing, it is easy to see that animal testing is expensive. So the United States spends between $12.5 and $14.5 billion a year on animal testing, which is 40% of the money spent on research by the National Institute of Health. So the animals that are used in testing need to be purchased, housed, and taken care of, which is expensive. And also, depending on the type of test that is used, they may need to use different amounts of animals and different types of animals, so that's also expensive. For example, a test for genetic toxicity with sister chromatids costs $22,000 for an animal test, but with the various alternative tests that are available, they can be $8,000, so that's a big difference. And so before a product can go out for sale for human use, it needs to be tested 3 different times on animals, which increases the cost. But the good news is that there are alternatives to animal testing, and these alternatives may have better results because when comparing animal tests to humans, there's a vast genetic difference between animals and humans, which you wouldn't have with these alternative tests. So there are many types of alternative tests. One of these types is human test, which includes microdosing, which is when the human is given a small amount of the substance and then their body is analyzed to see what the results are. And there's also human patient simulators, which is used in 97% of medical schools instead of animal laboratories. There's also human-based cell testing, or it's also called in vitro testing. So that's done in like a test tube or a petri dish. And there's also computer models and MRI tests. These alternative tests are often less expensive, more efficient, and are done without hurting animals. So animal testing can take weeks or even months, but non-animal testing can be done in a matter of hours. Traditional animal testing can take up to 5 years and cost millions of dollars, but in this time frame, with non-animal testing, a lot more substances can be tested on and for a fraction of the cost. The alternative tests may be more effective and accurate because there's no genetic differences. And so some people that would like to test on animals think it's a good idea because they'd rather hurt an animal than a human. But the reality is we already do human testing, like with clinical trials and other experimental drugs. And some people think that animals are inferior to humans and that they don't have any feelings, which I already said that they do. So stopping or at least reducing animal testing will save the lives of countless innocent animals. The reasons to stop animal testing are because it is immoral, costly, and there are alternatives. The important research will still be done, but without harming any animals in the process. You could be a part of the effort to stop the helpless animals from being hurt or even killed. I encourage you to only use products from companies that don't test on animals. Some companies that don't test on animals include Urban Decay, Smashbox, OPI, Tarte, Too Faced, and Trader Joe's. I also think you should consider supporting one of the many animal rights organizations like PETA.